You must be the one who is creating your training plans, not your dog trainer, not your dog coach. You must be the one creating your training plan. Here's why. Your dog trainer really only sees you 1 day a week for an hour a week for 7-8 weeks total, maybe. What about all of the rest of the time in your day, all of the rest of the days in your week, and what about the next 15 years of your life? See, when you're thinking about a dog training plan, you want to think of it as a planner. You want to think of it as a schedule of what your life is going to look like today, this week, the next month, etc. And your dog trainer is not going to be able to tell you what you're doing on Thursday at 3 o'clock, but you will. And so in this video, I'm breaking down how to create a dog training plan. I'm going to be showing you the principles and giving you an example so you can follow along. I want you to create your dog training plan immediately after watching this video, or if you can't do it right after watching this video, make sure you save this in your library. Whether you were teaching sit, down, stay, or you're working on reactivity, aggression, separation anxiety, this dog training plan is going to be supportive for you. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's Jen with Dog Liaison, where I coach you on how to enhance your dog's mental health. On this channel, we really like to get nerdy into the dog training science, so if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing. Now, I am a professional dog trainer. At this stage, I really only focus on anxiety-related disorders, dogs that are facing reactivity, aggression, separation anxiety. However, I do have an extensive background in focusing on basic skills and other behavioral issues, and so across the board, what is unifying between all of that coaching is that our guardians must know how to create training plans, and those training plans must be based in their goals and their intentionality. Now, there are 6 key steps to creating your dog training plan, and I'm going to go over them briefly right now, but know that throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to be deep diving on each one of those steps. So those 6 steps are: 1, know your goals using the funnel process. Number 2, create a 5 to 10 day planner. 3, eliminate days that you cannot train. 4, select the day you want to hit a personal record, or also known as a PR. You'll probably hear me say both of those in this video. Number 5, input the objectives for each day. And number 6, input the criteria for each of those days. Now let's break those down. So step 1 of this 6-step process is to be able to know your goals using the funnel process. So you're going to have a funnel that kind of looks like this. There's actually going to end up being 2 funnels, but for right now, we're just going to have 1. And in each layer is going to be a different time frame. Let's say it's 1 year, but really this is like the long-term plan, right? So whatever your long-term is, you know, over the year, over the next 6 months, over the next 3 months, like whatever that long, big plan is, that's going to go in your top. Then you're going to have your goal for the next month. Then you're going to have your goal for this week. And then you're going to have your goal for today. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to be using the goal of the loose leash walk. And you want to do the same thing. You want to create a funnel. My recommendation is start off with this one being way bigger than the first one. Okay, so your funnel is going to be quite big. And same thing, 4 lines. And you want to think about, what is the long-term goal for loose leash walking? If I fast forward a year from now, where are all the places that I want my dog to walk nicely on a leash with me? Well, you might think, okay, definitely around the neighborhood, right? You might also think, I want to take my dog to the cafe. You might think, I want to take my dog to the beach. You might want to take your dog to the pet store. You might want to walk around the city block. Like, where are all of the places, if you fast forward a year from now, where are all of the places that you want to feasibly take your dog? That goes in the long-term plan, okay? Then you want to think about, okay, what is my top priority? And what do I want to just be focusing on for the next month? Let's say the next 4 weeks, next 6 weeks, whatever you want to watch. So just a shorter period of time, okay? And you might decide, what I want to do is I want to focus primarily on the neighborhood for the next month. And my top priority is that I want, for those goals, I'm gonna need there's gonna be encounter food on the floor, right? So your dog's gonna experience having to leave it on the food on the floor. You're gonna have to sit at the crosswalk. That's something that's gonna have to go part of that criteria. Your dog's going to encounter other dogs, people, sounds, and scents in the bushes, like scents like plants, for example. And there's also going to be some kids screaming on the playground. So you're going to be encountering all of these triggers on your neighborhood walk that you want to accomplish 6 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, whatever. You really want to get very specific with it. Almost like put yourself in it, put yourself in that experience and think about what are you going to walk through? What are you going to encounter on that walk 6 weeks from now, okay? That's what goes in this second column. Then remember the next bubble or next column really is this week. So of all of the criteria in this row, what do you want to focus on this week specifically? Well, you may decide that you really need to get the mail and your dog needs to sit. Okay, that's your top goal. And you also decide that you want to focus on your dog sitting at crosswalks. That's the main objective you want to prioritize this week. Because here's the thing, if you know you have all of these criteria that you're supposed to get in this month, my friend, if you just try to start tackling every single one of those objectives out on the walk, do you know how hard that's gonna be for your dog? Like, look how many criteria are in this column, right? There's so many criteria. There's no way that one day and one walk, you're gonna be able to tackle all those criteria and have it work out. Like, we need to have reasonable expectations of our dogs, right? So we really are aware of what's our intent, what's our objective, what do we want to narrow down, and then we add in as we go, okay? So you select which goal you want for this week, and then from there, you're going to identify the criteria for the day. Now, for that, I'm going to show you how to make a planner. Okay, so at this point, you have successfully accomplished step 1. Now you're moving into actually creating your training plan. Okay, you're going to have your 7-day plan. Now, really, you could do as many days as you want. You want to do 3, 5, 10 days, that's fine. I don't really recommend doing far out past 10 to 14 because you want to be able to accommodate, you want to be able to adjust depending on how well your dog is progressing and how well you've been on track. And if you go too far out, you may find that by the time you get to the 21st day, what you thought you were going to be doing that day is no longer applicable. So really only recommend doing like 3 to 7 days. Really the sweet spot is like 5 to 7, but you probably could go all the way up to 14 if you really were ambitious, okay? So you have your planner, and first step is you're going to eliminate the days that you know you can't train. So you know you get home at 7 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday. My friend, guess what? You're gonna be taking Monday through Friday off if you really want to, right? But let's say hypothetically, you know that the days you can't train are Tuesday and Thursday. You're like, these days I'm packed, I cannot do these. Those immediately get removed off of the list, okay? I think it's important that we are thinking about sustainability. You do not want to book yourself to go train your dog literally every single day. I don't know about you, but that's not very sustainable for many people. It's kind of like most people don't start going to the gym and right out of the gate go to the gym every single day and actually sustain that. So you want to pick a routine that makes sense for your lifestyle, makes sense with you. So you eliminate the days you know you can't train. The next step is to pick the day that you want to hit your PR, which is to say, when we think about our goal for the week, right? This line over here, this is the PR. We want to have our dog sitting. Let's say we want to have our dog sitting for, 10 seconds at the mailbox and 5 seconds on the crosswalk or something like that, right? You want to be thinking about what is the PR, what does that actually look like? So you want to think about reasonably what day makes sense for that. Let's say that you decide you want to make the PR on Saturday at 1 p.m. Okay, so your PR is going to be Saturday, 1 p.m. Perfect. That PR is going to look like a sit for 3 seconds at the end of the street by stop sign. And in this criteria, there's not going to be any people, dogs, or sounds. So for the purpose of this video, PDS stands for people, dog, sounds. So what this really means is you're going to get your dog to do a sit at the end of the streets, on the sidewalk by all the stop signs, assuming that there are no major distractions around. You're also going to get a sit by the mailbox so you can pull the mail out. And let's say that duration is going to be 10 seconds long and your neighbor's going to be out, Steve's going to be out. Let's say Steve, your neighbor's going to be outside. And, but other than that, there's not going to be any people, dogs, or sounds. So that's the criteria. Now, something to think about is you're really getting specific on what your criteria is going to look like. And later in this video, I'm going to give you a formula to be able to support you through breaking down that criteria. So make sure you keep watching. But when you're typing in your planner, you don't want to just put like, I'm going to have my dog sit for 3 repetitions, because that is not specific enough. That's not aware enough of the criteria. We really want to get aware of what we're facing. So once you have your PRs in, then you're going to go through each day and you're going to write in what your objectives and what their criteria is going to look like. So on Monday, you're going to have 3 reps of sits at 3 different stop signs. Again, no PDS. You're going to walk to the mailbox and ask for a sit. Immediately feed, because that's keeping the criteria reasonable, right? And you decide that, yeah, your dog can get up while you get the mail. So that's Monday's plan. On Wednesday, you're going to do 1 rep. Rep stands for repetition. 1 rep for 2 seconds at 3 different signs. No PDS. And you're gonna walk to the mailbox and sit for 2 seconds. So you'll notice that the criteria is increasing as we go, right? It's getting more and more difficult as we build. That's intentional. So let's say on Wednesday you have 2 opportunities to train, so 2 different walks. You're gonna do 1 rep for 2 seconds at 3 different signs. And you're gonna walk to the mailbox again. Let's say hypothetically the first time you did not end up actually getting the mail of the mailbox. This time you're actually gonna get the mailbox. So you're gonna walk to the mailbox. You're going to ask for a sit for 5 seconds. And you decide that, yeah, your dog can get up while you actually get the mail. Okay, so that's Thursday. On Friday, you're gonna do 2 reps for 2 seconds at 4 different locations. You're going to also walk to the mailbox and ask for a sit for 7 seconds, okay? And yeah, it can get up once you actually get the mailbox. And the reason we want to allow the dog to get up while you actually get the mail out, especially in these early stages, is because sometimes the mail is going to take longer than 10 seconds. And if 10 seconds is only your PR, it's unreasonable to then ask for your dog to sit for 15 seconds if he can't even handle 2. So we're setting reasonable expectations, right? This is why it's so important that we're fluent in what our criteria is and what we're trying to accomplish. So then we have our Saturday PR, and on Sunday, something that I recommend doing, we're using it on Sunday for an example, but you really could do this on any day of the week. But what I do recommend you do is don't consistently build in criteria. So you don't want to always make things more difficult. In fact, sometimes it's better to go down in difficulty to make things easier in order to make the success rate greater. And the more success rate your dog has, the more they're learning, the more they know what you're actually asking for. So you don't want to go too difficult every single time and then leave too many opportunities for your dog to make a mistake and get it wrong. So something that I really recommend you do is you weave in days. And again, in this case, we're doing Sunday, but really it could be any day of the week. You intentionally weave in days to make things easier, not continue getting harder. So for Sunday, let's say you decide to repeat what you did on Friday. So you're gonna do 2 reps for 2 seconds at 4 different locations. And for the mailbox, you decide to do what you did on Wednesday. You're gonna walk to the mailbox and you're gonna ask for sit for 2 seconds. Okay, so again, you're going back down in difficulty. Now, here's the formula for how to create criteria. Now, the way you want to integrate criteria, I have a little bit of a formula for you, okay? And let's say at this point, your training plan is kind of like a rough draft. It doesn't have all the criteria because you're waiting to learn Jenna's secret formula, right? And so now you get the opportunity to learn the formula, you're gonna go back and you're gonna add in extra criteria, okay? So for that formula is known as the 4 Ds. Okay, and you may have actually already heard of the 3Ds. The 3Ds are distance, duration, and distraction. I did not create those three. That was not me. I did, however, add a fourth. And the fourth that I want you to consider is distress. Okay, now the thing is, distraction and distress are not the same thing. Distress is a level of discomfort. There's a level of increased blood flow, increased panic, increased concern. And learning under duress is very different than learning under distraction, right? So distraction is more of a minute scale, whereas stress is very significant. And the truth of the matter is that training in distress, while is important, is always automatically a higher difficulty. And that's one of the reasons why I put like no people dogs sounds so frequently in here. One of the reasons why I did that is because for many dogs, that would be considered a distress, not a distraction. And so it's not to say that you can't train in distraction. This is indeed a very important criteria that you're focusing on. But when you're thinking about your criteria, you want to imagine what criteria you're facing. And you want to imagine, is this a distress or is this just a distractor? And I really apologize. You're hearing my dog cry in the background. He's having snores. These are like snore dream cries. He's not having a panic attack or anything. Okay. So the 4Ds, they use that as your guidance. So let's break down the 4Ds. So that's distraction and distress. Now let's talk about duration and distance, okay? Duration is things like, how long do I want the dog to perform the behavior? That's partly duration. And also, how long is the stimulus or the event going to last? So it's both. It's not just knowing how long does your dog need to perform the behavior. It's also if there's a stimulus or an event, like you're getting the mail, how long is the getting the mail going to actually last? Maybe 35 seconds. Plus, if you're adding in time to have conversations with your neighbors, maybe it goes up to a minute, whatever, right? You want to build in all of that duration. Then distance is also twofold. Distance could be how far away you are from your dog. So what is the space between you two? Or it could also be what is the space between your dog and a stimulus and an event, right? How close are they or how far away are they? Those are the different lenses that you want to look at duration and distance. If you're willing, we would love for you to create a little rough outline on what your training plan for the next week or the next month or whatever is going to look like. Feel free to comment that down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you get notified when I drop a new video, and I'll see you guys next week.